This is the Finance Report alongside Maury Hoff. I'm David Wilkinson and our guests, Ralph and Tim Short.
Over the next half hour, we'll discuss whether or not you should chase a magic number. Plus, what does the right plan look like for you and your retirement? And we'll head to the streets of Richmond and see what motivates Ralph and Tim. This and so much more ahead.
Joining us now are Ralph and Tim Short. The father-son duo are part of the team at Welcome Home Financial Partners, a Richmond area firm that focuses on preparing people for a successful retirement. So gentlemen, we've all seen these studies, we've seen these reports where people have this made-up number of $1 million and believe that's the magic number for a successful retirement. So let's go ahead and just ask the question now, is $1 million the magic number for retirement?
Well, how do you know? You have to know what your expenses are going to be like. You have to understand what you're going to need, whether it's just for your expenses or maybe for college for your grandkids or that special trip. You need to know that. And there's some people that they don't need that $1 million mark because they've done such a good job at keeping their expenses down. They don't have a lot of credit, debt or anything like that. So that's the reason that there's no such thing as a magic number.
Okay, so could financial problems then come from chasing what you thought was a magic number?
There could be problems chasing that magic number, but at the end of the day, it's all about the income. You do need to have savings, so you do need to be saving towards some sort of number, but you don't need to be focused solely on that magic number. We need to be focused on the income coming from that number.
Yeah.
But there shouldn't be just a template of just that certain number because it's all based on you and what you need and your plans.
Well, if that's the truth behind it, why do you think so many people have gotten caught in the trap of chasing that magic number?
Yeah.
It's all about the water cooler talk. They hear their friends talking about it. They hear about their coworkers talking about it. You know, a lot of people in our area, they've worked together for 20 or 30 years, and everybody's not in the same situation. I mean, you might have lived and breathed beside them for 20 years, but that doesn't mean you're in the same situation.
Sure.
Everybody's striving towards that number. That number's not going to mean anything. You need to make sure you have that plan, that retirement income plan, to make sure you don't outlive your money.
But the other thing to understand is they've probably seen that magic number over their head watching TV or on the internet. So people believe everything they see on TV or internet. So
they should only believe the things we say on this show,
Well,
right? I mean, this is the only TV
I
program where the truth is
obviously
behind it, everything. So, but yeah, you get caught up into chasing all this stuff. You do the water cooler talk because, as you're saying, everyone's situation is a little bit different. I mean, your neighbor Bob might be making as much as you, but he also might inherit some money, and that changes the game and gives him a different plan than you.
Yeah, and there's so many curveballs that are going to come into play. You know, some people are going to have to take care of their parents. Some people are going to have to take care of their own kids. There's so many things that are going to happen. You've got to make sure that you've got those that money saved up for it.
So let me ask you this. If you have spent years chasing what you thought was that magic number, or now you're just picking away at that pile of money, what steps can you take to pivot to an income plan?
basically understand your numbers. What are your numbers? What are you going to need? And that's the key thing for our process, is for people to understand. It is a process. You need to go through that in order for you to understand what you need or what you may not need. Because think about it this way. All of a sudden, you inherited a big lump sum of money, and you've been living off of $3,000 or $4,000 a month. What are you going to do now? Now you've got other options. So your plan is not static at all times. It's going to be dynamic.
I would say that chasing a magic number, you say it's $1 million, is pretending I know we've all ready to spell that that's not it. But it doesn't take into account, what if you're exposed in the market and there's a big loss? That could change your life.
Yeah, and usually when you're chasing that number, you've got a lot of market exposure, right? But when you're now shifting your focus to the income side, you need to shift your focus to limiting as much as you can the market exposure, because if the market is as volatile as it's been in recent history, then that could really take a turn for your worse for retirement.
Outside of creating that income plan, multiple streams of income, what else can we be doing to make sure we have a well-rounded retirement plan?
Try and look at what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
I mean, are you trying to take care of your grandkids? What could happen that you need that money? Or maybe you have some health issues that you didn't think was coming down, but it's in your family.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be understanding.
And another big piece too is tax planning. A lot of people don't talk about taxes. Tax planning is a big thing, because more than likely you're going to be on a fixed budget. You know, if Uncle Sam's got his hands out and he wants more of that income that you had, then what's that going to do for your retirement?
Yeah.
How have y'all seen historically with the people that you've worked with that they really get ahead with this type of approach? Why have you seen them get ahead with this type of planning process?
Mainly because a lot of people don't understand what it takes in order to do the things that we're talking to people about. And that's why they need somebody to help guide them through that process. And if you don't have somebody that's understanding what you're trying to do, like the big box stores, they don't know anything about you, you may not be able to get there.
And they're always so focused on making that money, accumulating all that wealth, and not flipping that switch to the distribution side, and that's huge.
Important information, which is why we will continue our conversation in just a moment. But first, for you at home, if you want to learn more about getting both to and through retirement, Ralph and Tim have a great offer for you. Right now, for the first 5 callers with a portfolio of $250,000 or greater, they're offering a complimentary full-blown retirement plan just for you. This will allow Ralph and Tim and the team to sit down with you personally and provide you with a roadmap analyzing where you are right now and discuss your best steps to really get ready for a successful retirement. The number to call right now, 804-944-8867. Once again, that number, 804-944-8867.
So talk about a double-edged sword. When it comes to your retirement and financial plan, it's your choice how your money is managed. That can be both empowering and scary. So Ralph and Tim, how big a difference is there between someone investing their own money and putting together a comprehensive retirement plan?
I would say there's a lot of difference between those two situations. Number one, you need to understand that an investment plan is just talking about the market and where you have your money.
Yeah.
But a comprehensive plan is to take all those pieces that you're going to have to get together to make sure you're okay in your retirement years.
What do we need to really understand when it comes to the market and how much risk we're taking on?
Well, you got to understand what your risk tolerance is, right? Let's just say you got $500,000 and you're going to need somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 grand outside of Social Security if you're fortunate enough for a pension. If you do the math with that, that's only 10 years, right? If we're just looking at behind it, on the other side of the envelope math, that's 10 years, right? Hopefully you're going to live longer than 10 years in retirement. We've got to throttle that risk back to make sure that that $500,000 is going to last us longer than that.
Yeah.
What can the big loss look like for someone that is in or nearing retirement if it puts them into recovery mode for their lifestyle?
Well, look, think about it this way. Just like Tim said a while ago, if you've got $500,000 in your account, you're trying to get out $50,000 a year to meet your expenses, and all of a sudden you went from $500 to $250. Now you don't have 10 years worth of expenses at that point in time. That's going to affect you in your lifestyle.
Right, and in that scenario, now you've only got 5 years, and guess what? The market might not rebound in that 5-year period. So there's so many different things that are going to come into play, which is why most people, when they're entering retirement, don't need to be fully in the market, right? We need to throttle that back some.
So for someone who has taken on too much risk and they know they should probably make a move, but they're hesitant, they're sitting tight, what would you say to them?
Do something.
Yeah.
Figure out what you need to do and then actually do it. It's great to have a plan to look at, but you need some advice from somebody that's been there. It's somebody that understands what you're trying to do.
And sit down and talk, have an open mind, because a lot of people, they don't know what is all available to them. And that's what we run into a lot is people sit down and they're like, yeah, I know I've got this, I got that. Well, have you thought about this? Well, no, I didn't. Please tell me more. And we get to talking, it's like, well, why has nobody talked to me about this? I can't answer that for you, right?
Yeah.
So they're always reliant on that 401k. Well, who's going to talk to them about their 401k? Nobody. You know, it's usually their coworker that they're talking about, hey, what investments are you in? What are you doing? How are you doing this? What contributions are you making? They're not getting any kind of advice.
How hard is it, though, to talk to someone, convince someone, inform someone that it's time to make a move? Because it's been a nice run. It's been very nice for a lot of people, and the market has helped people grow their money in a lot of situations. How hard is it for someone that's going through this for the first time, and they're just like, nah, it's going to come back? I mean, that's a real conversation you all have.
That is a real conversation. We do it every day. But the thing that you need to understand, do you have the time to wait until it gets back before you need that money? Because that's the key issue. If the market is down when you need to start taking money out, you're really hurting yourself because you're taking money out at the same time as it's going down. Just think about it this way. If your bank account is going down without you putting more money in, it's eventually going to do what? In my opinion, it's going to run out, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do in your retirement?
Not
I don't think so.
I want to circle back to taxes for a moment. I think a lot of people hope they can enter that lower tax bracket in their retirement years, but they're trying to figure out if it's really possible for them, but they don't really know what steps to take. What steps should they be taking?
Well, what I would say is basically understand that when you are in retirement, you are going to have to pay taxes. You're going to have to understand you have to take money out of your retirement account. That may put you up into a different tax bracket.
Sure.
Okay, it's all about the income that you have coming in is where you are in taxes.
Yeah.
And you could be entering retirement, you know, being married, right? Something happens to your spouse. Maybe at that point in time you were in a lower tax bracket, but now you're a single filer because your spouse had passed away, so that could throw things for a loop.
Yeah.
There's so many different variables that come into play.
We
Yeah.
did start this conversation for this part of the show about the difference between investing your own money and putting together a comprehensive retirement plan. Look, for those that are investing, obviously they have done very well. I mean, there's potential for them to have done extremely well. Putting together the retirement plan is much different than investing, as you stated, but how often are the do-it-yourselfers unaware of the taxes and the tax planning and how much money that could either put in their pockets or cost them?
Well, you see it all the time. I mean, everybody's solely focused on that statement. They see that statement come in monthly, quarterly, whatever the case may be, and they love seeing the number when it's going up, but they hate seeing it when it's going down. But they ride it out. That's great, right?
Sure.
When you're 20, 30, 40 years old, that's fantastic. You've got time. More than likely, you got some time to ride those waves, right? But once you get to retirement, you don't have that time. History doesn't always repeat itself, right?
It's true.
We've had a good run, right? We're up a lot. We're down a little bit right now, and who knows where the future, what it is going to bring. So we've got to look at it in a positive light that, hey, we've made some money, right? Everybody always talks about the loss is only on paper. Well, guess what? So is the gain, right? It goes back and forth. You've got to make sure that you're protecting your assets once you get to retirement. And it's not always about just protection. You can have protected growth. People always take, well, if I'm going to protect it, that means that I'm not going to make any money. I'm going to stay stagnant. That's not the case.
All right, we're going to say to be continued as far as this conversation is concerned. So first, for you at home, if you want to learn more about putting together your plan for retirement, Ralph and Tim have a great offer for you. Right now, for the first 5 callers with a portfolio of $250,000 or greater, they're offering a complimentary full-blown retirement plan just for you. This will allow Ralph and Tim and their team to sit down with you personally and provide you with a roadmap analyzing where you are right now and discuss your best steps to really get ready for a successful retirement. The number to call right now, 804-944-8867. Once again, 804-944-8867.
So you've worked hard and you've saved diligently for your retirement. Now here comes the scary question for you at home. Could you imagine a hidden mistake in your retirement planning costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars? Gentlemen, what kind of mistakes could potentially cost people that type of money?
2 things. Number 1, too much risk in the market. The other thing is paying Uncle Sam his taxes, because guess what? It could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes in your retirement if you've done a good job at accumulating money before you retired.
And you've got to make sure you got the right strategies for both of them.
So big picture, a hit like this, what can that mean for your retirement? Paint me a picture.
Well, the picture doesn't look pretty.
No.
I hate to be that painter, but it could derail everything.
Yeah.
You're probably going to have to go back to work. And that's not what we want to do. We want to retire and we want to live out those retirement dreams. We all have that bucket list that we want to do in retirement. And if you took the hit, whether it's for taxation, whether it's just market, if you're still in stocks and the market takes a hit 50, 60%, and now you've got half of your money, then what,
Yeah.
right? What are we going to do? So those are things to take a look at.
Yeah, we actually have clients that come in right now during this little downturn that we've got that's all of a sudden lost $250,000 in the last 3 to 4 months. What are they going to do? First off, 2 of the clients said, we're not retiring. We're not going to be able to retire.
Yeah.
So that's the other issue to think about. You may put off retirement at that point in time, but is that what you want to do, particularly if you have health issues?
What puts these people in that situation where they're down $250 though, and faced now with this unfortunate dilemma of like, can I retire or can I not?
Mainly because all of a sudden that market, they had too much risk, they've lost that kind of money, and now they don't know what to do.
But they put themselves in this position with the choices.
They never took any action.
Right.
That's what happened.
That's what happens. All right, so is this just something the wealthy need to be paying attention to? When we talk about tax planning, sometimes there's a misconception for those that aren't in the 7 figures plus that taxes is really just for them. But is that the case?
No, that's not the case. Everybody pays taxes,
Okay.
right?
Well, sure, but
right.
yeah.
And we always hear that the tax brackets are only going to go up for the wealthy. That's not true. It's always a trickle-down effect. Everybody's going to be affected.
All right, so why then do we feel that tax planning really is so often overlooked? We know what you stand to gain, we know what you stand to lose, and yet so many people wait it out. I'll get to it eventually.
Well,
right?
most people, right, when
Yeah.
they're working, they've got it coming out of their paycheck. So they don't think about it. They only think about it one time a year, and that's come tax time, they're hoping to get a refund. So that's the only time they think about it. So when it comes to retirement, now they got to create their own paycheck. Now they start thinking about it, but at that point in time, it's almost kind of too late.
Yeah.
You've got to do the right process at the right time.
How often do you see people getting that second opinion, walking through your doors for the first time just to make sure that the plan you could potentially show them lines up with the one they already have? How often do you see that plan as an incomplete plan?
Most of the time.
Most of the
Okay.
time.
Because they
Yeah.
don't take in consideration the things that we do when it comes to, when our income planning takes into consideration your income, takes into consideration your expenses and taxes, and it put it all together to let you see and visualize how your retirement plan is going to look.
It sounds like you've seen a lot of plans that will get someone to retirement, but not necessarily all the way through retirement. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah, because there's no plan as far as distributions, when to take them, what tax deferred versus Roth accounts. There is no type of plan. It's just,
Yeah.
okay, hey, we've got these accounts, that's fantastic, but there's no plan outside of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, their plan is basically taking a look at their statements that they get on a quarterly basis, and that's it.
I've heard you say so many times a statement is not a retirement plan, but for some reason, people don't always follow that.
That is correct. It's just that that's what they've been told either by their coworkers or by the TV advertisement. You got to have that special number.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and about the special number. So we're talking about a lot of different factors that go into that complete retirement plan. And two of the things that you guys have pointed out so far is that income planning and tax planning can often be overlooked when it comes to that complete retirement plan. When you combine those two forces, what can the result be?
That retirement you always dreamed about.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is, because everybody's different. I dare say that your retirement, what your goals are, is completely different than what you want.
I have a
okay?
feeling you're right.
Yeah.
But it gives you the peace of mind. You want to retire the way that you want to retire,
Yeah.
right? Regardless of what that may be, you want to be able to do the things that you want to do.
Great information, which is why the time to act is now.
Absolutely. So for you at home, if you want to learn more about putting together your retirement plan, Ralph and Tim have a great offer for you. Right now, for the first 5 callers with a portfolio of $250,000 or greater, they're offering a complimentary full-blown retirement plan just for you. This will allow Ralph and Tim to sit down with you personally and provide you with a roadmap, analyzing where you are right now and discuss your best steps to really get ready for a successful retirement. The number to call, 804-944-8867. That's 804-944-8867.
And now on a visit to the Richmond area, we'll visit with Ralph and Tim, and we'll discuss how they help people retire with confidence.
Well, it's a great place to be. I mean, look at the location. I mean, you get the best of everything. You're so close to the beach, you're so close to the nation's capital. A lot of people flock here.
Whether breaking things down on TV or having a conversation in the office, for father and son team Ralph and Tim Short, preparing clients for a successful retirement isn't just their line of work, it's their passion.
What's it like working together?
Some days it's great, it's challenging,
Yeah.
but most part it's been fun.
You agree?
Oh, I agree. And it is. It's an honor working with my dad. He's taught me a lot. But the good thing is the whole office is a team. You know, not just father-son team, but the whole office is a team.
Do you feel that you bring something unique to the table because of the relationship and the history that you have?
Yes, I do. I mean, for most of our clients, they really recognize the fact that we work as a team. We have their best interests at heart.
It's a blue-collar town. There's a lot of hard-working people here.
It's a close-knit community.
And that's why we like the clientele that we have, is because they're very down to earth. And I think that's why they like us as well, is because we are very down to earth as well.
Their goal is to help people prepare for the retirement they've spent years working towards. And they say the importance of sharing a vision with your significant other should not be overlooked.
You've got to be on the same page, always.
How hard is it to get people to be on the same page sometimes?
It can be tricky. It can
It's
be
a
tricky.
little challenging for sure.
But a lot of the folks here, they work 20, 30, 40 years at a plant straight out of high school. So now they're wanting to know what they need to do with their funds.
It just infuriates me that they're not getting the proper advice because like Tim says, you work so hard 40 years to accumulate this kind of money and now it's gone just like that.
To us, you're not the number. That's the whole meaning behind our name, Welcome Home Financial Partners, is you're part of the family. Once you become a client, you're part of the family. Everybody's going to be in a different situation. There's different rules, different regulations. Everybody's 401k plans, pension plans, they're all going to work a little bit different. The biggest thing that we've been seeing recently now is pension buyouts. A lot of these employers don't want to be on the hook to pay these people for their lifetime. We're supposed to be living longer, so a lot of these companies are wanting to buy out the pensions, so they're offering a lump sum to the employee or the retiree. Most of these people aren't getting the correct information and they're just cashing it out. So if they offer that lump sum of, let's say, $200,000, $300,000, they're taking that $300,000 and just putting it into their bank account instead of rolling it into an IRA. You're going to run into a big tax problem.
The companies will say, here, you got 2 weeks to make that decision. And all of a sudden, they're just like a deer blinded in the headlights. They don't know what to do.
I've heard you both say when it comes to retirement planning, the plan has to change because life changes.
Absolutely. Grandkids, great-grandkids, health concerns, everything's going to change. You've got to make sure that your money is going to last longer than you are.
When it comes to planning for retirement, how do you know if you've saved enough to truly enjoy the city you plan to retire in? And will inflation play a role? Both Ralph and Tim agree that when it comes to planning for a successful retirement, there is no magic number.
We have clients on different ends of the spectrum. One client will come in and say, I've got this money and I want to spend every last dime of it before I die because it's my money. I want to make sure of that fact. Or I have other clients who come in that will say, I want everything to go to my kids. I don't want any of this money. And then you explain to them, well, you don't have a choice about some of it because your 401k or IRAs, you're going to have to start taking money out at some point in your life. So there is no one plan or one correct answer. It just depends on what that person wants to do, what their plans are later down the road. It's simple as that. I think the biggest thing is always for them to understand what they need. If your whole thing is $3,000 a month in expenses and you got $5,000 a month coming in from whatever, guess what? You don't need a huge sum of money at that point in time. We have people come in with that and all of a sudden they said, I can retire because I've got $2,000 a month.
Yeah, what it comes down to is just helping people. You work so long and then next thing you know is that you didn't make the correct decisions and now they're back to work, whether it's part-time or full-time. And I've seen it with people 60 plus that, you know, they're griping, hey, I just want to go home. I want to spend time with my grandkids, but I can't. I've got to work.
If you are in retirement or quickly approaching retirement, what do you need to be considering when it comes to inflation?
$5,000 a month isn't going to be the same next year as it is this year. Hell, it's not going to be the same next month. Your retirement income has to compensate for these things. Now, we've got a bunch of big plants around here. We've got Philip Morris, we've got DuPont. The Federal Reserve Building's right up the river here. There's so many different opportunities in this city, and a lot of people just don't get the advice because they're leaning on the water cooler talk.
Ralph and Tim would prefer that you lean on them instead.
I think the best feeling is when you're sitting down with somebody and you tell them that they can retire and just giving them the ability to know that they can. Letting people walk out the door with the peace of mind is the best reward we can see.
And as you can see, Ralph and Tim are very passionate about helping retirees and pre-retirees in the Richmond area, which is why today they have a great offer for you. Right now, for the first 5 callers with a portfolio of $250,000 or greater, they're offering a complimentary full-blown retirement plan just for you. This will allow Ralph and Tim and their team to sit down with you personally and provide you with a roadmap analyzing where you are right now and discuss your best steps to really get ready for a successful retirement. The number to call right now, 804-944-8867. Once again, that number, 804-944-8867.
You've likely heard of rules for money over the years, for instance, the rule of 100 and the 4% rule. But should they be followed today? So Tim, let's start with you. The rule of 100, does it still apply?
Let's go there.
Does it still apply? Who knows, right?
I'm hoping you do.
Well, all these rules, they're just kind of guidelines.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
once again, everything goes back to each individual person. We've got 80-year-old clients that want to be 100% in the market. That doesn't follow the rule of 100.
No.
So
Sure.
it's all based off what you want your retirement dreams to look like, how much money you've saved, how much income you're going to need. So at the end of the day, all of these rules of thumb, if you will, don't really need to be followed. It's all about your individual situation.
Okay, so what about the 4% rule then?
I would say that most people, do they understand what that 4% rule is? So let me just explain
Probably not,
this.
right?
Most people, as a rule of thumb, saying that you could take out 4% of whatever your account value is every year and you would never run out of money. Guess what? What if you're taking out $50,000 out of an account that all of a sudden that account goes down, or
Yeah.
it's not earning that amount of money? So let's think this way. If you earn less than 4%, what's going to happen to your account? It's probably going to go down, right?
Yeah.
You might run out of money, correct? Is that what you want to do?
That's not
likely.
does not sound like a
Yeah.
fun game plan right
But that's
there.
why rules like that you kind of have to take with a grain of salt.
Okay.
Not necessarily a rule, but more of a strategy, buy and hold. Do you believe retirees can get ahead with that?
Not retirees, maybe pre-retirees.
Okay.
If you're 20 or 30 years old, buy and hold might not be a bad strategy. But it's all dependent on what kind of income that you need, right? If you've got $10 million and you don't need to tap into it because you got pension, because you got Social Security, because you have zero debt and your expenses are this much, maybe you can do some buy and hold strategy. But for the most retirees, buy and hold is not a good situation to use, because buy and hold means that you're going to buy at a certain point and you're going to hold and you're going to hope that whatever you bought in at, it's going to be higher when you eventually sell. Well, guess what? Emergencies happen, and if you don't have that $10 million and you need to have access to it and you need to sell out now, guess what? It might not be higher than it was when you bought into it. So now you take that loss and now you've kind of defeated the whole purpose.
Sure.
Coming off of the longest bull market run in history, this is a complicated time to be a pre-retiree or a retiree. What do people in those two categories need to be uniquely aware of right now?
I would say it's a very scary time to
Yeah.
be in right now, because all of a sudden your money is going down when you need it the most.
Sure.
Because now you're going to have to start taking money out, and if it's going down, it's going to affect you doubly.
And you have something very special for our viewers watching at home today.
That's right. For the first 5 callers that have saved $250,000 or more for retirement, we'd like to invite them into the office where we'll sit down with them personally to help them create their very own retirement plan. And Mallory and David will do this on a complimentary basis.
A very generous offer. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We greatly appreciate it. So for you at home, if you want to learn more about getting to and through retirement, Ralph and Tim have a great offer for you. Right now, for the first 5 callers with a portfolio of $250,000 or greater, they're offering a complimentary full-blown retirement plan just for you.
This will allow Ralph and Tim and their team to sit down with you personally and provide you with a roadmap analyzing where you are right now and discuss your best steps to really get ready for a successful retirement. The number to call, 804-944-8867. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next time.